Hey guys, this is Nick with EDC Mag, and today I want to talk about the Wander Tactical Mistral. Before we get into that, let's talk about another knife real quick. This is the ADV Harpoon. This is made by Andre de Villiers, who is ADV, if you're not familiar. Now, Andre makes a whole host of different types of knives, fixed blades. He makes a lot of different stuff. He makes one of the best cleavers in the business. Just makes some amazing knives. I've reviewed some of his knives before, and I'm just a huge fan. I've never been disappointed. I've had about 15, and I think I'm going to quit counting. However, I'm not a huge fixed blade guy. I don't have a lot of them. I don't know. They're just not my thing. But I had never had a ADV fixed blade and came across this and had an opportunity to pick it up. So I thought, hey, let's give it a shot. This knife is the Harpoon. It is a 4-inch Bowler N690 blade, full tang knife. It has G10 scales. It weighs about 7.5 ounces. It has a satin finish blade as well as the pins. It has a nice lanyard hole in the back, as you can see. Just an overall really beautiful knife. This knife comes with a sheath, a Kydex sheath, as well as a tech lock, which allows you to carry it in a lot of different positions. Gives you a lot of options as far as how you carry this thing. And at 4 inches, man, for me at least, that's about perfect for carrying a fixed blade. What I would like to do with this knife, actually, because I'm a big dude, I think I'm going to carry this as a neck knife. Currently, I don't go anywhere without a necker, but right now I'm carrying this little Tops Windrunner, and it's nice, but you just don't, you don't have the grip. So I'm thinking about trying something a little bigger. And this lays really flat, which I like. It's fairly flat scale. As far as the hand goes, it feels really good in hand. Especially when you've got your thumb on the jimping there, man. This thing, you can just bear down with this thing. It's definitely a functional blade. You can do a lot with it, no doubt. Good knife. I wasn't a big fan of this blade style, but now that I have it in hand, I gotta say I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I'll give you a little size comparison here with our trusty Kershaw link. So you got a 3.2 inch blade, 4-inch blade. This blade is a little bit taller, which I like. And he does make this in a folding option, this Harpoon, which I know they're very popular. A lot of people are fans of those. This one has a little bit of sheath wear on it, but not a big deal. No hot spots at all. I mean, Andre, man, his knives are just flawless. The guy really knows how to make a knife. There's never any surprises. Things are they're just gorgeous. They're like a Cadillac of knives, man. They just function well. Just a flat out amazing knife. So if you ever get a chance, these things are about $190 on Blade HQ, Knife Center, Knife Ship Free, whoever sells ADV. If you ever get a chance, if you ever wanted to try one, I would definitely recommend it, because this thing does not disappoint whatsoever. I can see carrying this and using this a whole lot. So there you go, ADV Harpoon. Now let's talk about the Wander Tactical Mistral. Wander Tactical is a knife company out of Italy. So these are Italian made, and they make primarily fixed blade knives. They make them for the military, for heavy duty field operations, survivalists, preppers, trudging around out in the bush. And you can kind of tell that in the design. Now this knife is a 3.5 inch blade. It's D2 steel. Has blue maple scales. The clip on it is stainless steel, and it is reversible, which bodes well along with the rocker arm lock system. I'm familiar with Benchmade and several others that have a similar style lock. You know, these locks are just absolutely insane when it comes to strength. When I got this, it came in this box, which is unique. I don't know if I've seen anything like this before, and I didn't know how to open it. I was about ready to foobar this thing, calm myself down a little bit, figure it out, but pretty neat. It's not rocket surgery. This knife comes with a little bolt here, which I've had knives like this before. So what a lot of people do is they'll tie this, they will use this and attach it to the lanyard, and then you always have this with you. But basically this will screw in and lock that blade in place. So even as strong as that lock is, you've got additional strength there. I don't know that you would need it, but for peace of mind, they provide it, and it's kind of cool to have. So there you go. All right. It's like a Chinese puzzle. I hate it. All right, so these come in a lot of different finishes. This, like I said, is the blue maple. What the finish on the blade, on the D2 blade, is something that they call an ice brush finish, which is absolutely stunning. Actually, I love this finish, and having the coated D2 will definitely help as far as any corrosion that D2 might present, depending on the conditions. Now, from a functional standpoint, this knife was a little different, and I wasn't exactly sure how to handle it at first. There's not a lot of info on these knives. I couldn't find a whole lot out there in the Wander Tactical 2019 calendar. There's no mention of these. They were a limited run. They only did 2 models. They did the Mistral and the Hurricane. So there weren't a whole lot out there. I followed them for a while when the prototypes came out, and then I found out that this blade was only going to be 3.5 inches, so I kind of lost interest. But this one just kind of came back around to me, and I had never tried one. Like I said, depending on finish, $300 to $400. Gorgeous knife. The design is cool, but there's a few things that I'm not 100% sure on, and I've got some theories, and I think I figured some things out. But one of the things on this knife is the deployment. You can deploy with your thumb, and you can deploy with the flipper tab. But what this thing does, and you guys probably, I don't know, maybe I'm an idiot and I just don't know, but the way this thing deploys, I mean, if you're not using wrist action, that's as far as it comes out. And it's designed that way. I'm just not 100% sure why, but you can hear it. Hear that lock? And that's where it's set, and you can flip that on out, or you can use your thumb to roll it on out for full deployment. Now, why it is designed that way, or if that's just the lock, I do not know. I do love this thumb stud, and the second one there, I think, well, for one, that's your blade stop. So you've got a thumb stud and a blade stop, but one of the things that this is going to do for you, and do really well, is because this is a knife designed for the bush, is I think, the design on the scale, it's nice, it's smooth, but there's a lot of aggressiveness to it, and it's somewhat blocky. I mean, it does feel good in hand, and it does fill up your hand. For a 3.5 inch knife, this knife is not going to get lost in your hand, which is, fantastic. However, I have a feeling that where this knife is really going to perform well for someone is when your hand is gloved. I think that's where this knife is really going to stand out as far as the feel, the grip, the deployment, just everything about this knife screams use me with gloves. And you know, if this is for survivalists, preppers, and heavy field ops, there's a very good chance that you're going to be wearing gloves. These are Oakley SI gloves. If you ever get a chance to get some, these things are awesome. But I think this knife is a brute. It's got the barrel spacers, no fancy technology used in the pivot or the screws. Just super cool, man. And you know, it's an outdoor survival knife, but wow, is it gorgeous, man. The colors, this blue maple, man, it's a beautiful knife. It really is. There's no question about it. And it's light. It weighs like I weighed it a while back, and it weighs like 5.5 ounces. Yeah, 5.5 ounces. So it's not heavy in your pocket. It is a little wide. We can do a comparison here. I mean, if you look at an almost 3.5-inch Kershaw, you'll notice that it's got some width in it. And we could do a comparison side by side here with these two, just to give you an idea size-wise. So you got a 3.5, I think it's 3.54, 3.2-inch blade. So you can definitely see the difference in the size of these. But again, this with a glove on, this is going to get lost in your hand. It's a smooth scale. It's definitely not made for those types of conditions. If your hand's wet, if you're working in wet conditions, or you've got gloves on, this knife is going to get dropped multiple times, and it's going to frustrate you. So something like this with these deep grooves in them, you know, much like mud tires, going to give you grip. They're going to give you grip in the back. There's jimping back there. For gloves, there's jimping up here. There's this is really aggressive as far as the jimping goes. And, you know, all of these contact edges are, you know, they're all designed for grip. And I think if you're out in the field with a pair of gloves, this knife is never going to leave your hand. You're not going to lose it, and it's going to function well no matter how thick your gloves are. So yeah, very cool, man. At first I wasn't sure about this knife, and I held off reviewing it because I wanted to give it a chance to prove itself, because I couldn't find a lot of info out there, and I just wanted to, you know, I wanted to give it a fair shake. And now that I've had it for a month or so, dude, this knife is just super cool. The locking system, because it kind of runs straight back instead of like kind of angled down a little bit, so you're almost pulling back against yourself. That takes a little bit of getting used to for one-handed deployment, but you know, once you get used to it, I mean, like any knife and new design or unique design, you know, they're going to have their own little quirks. So there you go. I think it's a really cool knife. I'm not sure why they only made them, you know, they made 2 models and they made a limited run and that was it. But I would say for an aggressive outback in the bush knife that just absolutely looks as good as it performs, man, this thing is cool. Definitely. And me, I like overbuilt and overkill. So having the blade stop, if it was just a blade stop and a flipper, that'd be all right. But having the blade stop and the thumb stud, yeah, that pretty much seals the deal for me. So there you go, guys. The Wander Tactical Mistral. The ADV Harpoon. If you guys get a chance to grab either one, I would recommend them. I think they're both phenomenal knives. Well, hey guys, this is Nick with EDC Mag. I appreciate you watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We're having a lot of fun. We've still got a lot more to come. And until next time, have a great day.